Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. The project for today is painting. So one way you can just make your house look better is to give things a little bit of a pop. And so our builder made these built-ins for our back mudroom. They kind of blend into the room because the whole house is really light colored. So we have light walls, we have light things like that. And we just kind of wanted to give this room some dimension and just give it a little bit of a pop to it. So we have paint that we used for our pantry. It matches our island for our kitchen, so it has a cohesive look to it, and we just want to do that. So the first thing we did is obviously we cleaned everything off of it. We wiped everything down. We touched up anything that needed to be touched up. So there's a little bit of spots here where I don't know what the painter they did here. It's a little bit of cracking. We have to do a little bit of caulking in the corner, but that's really it. We don't have to worry about priming it. It's already been primed. It's already been painted once, so we just have to give it a really good coat of paint. Because we're going with a little bit darker color, we'll probably have to do 2 coats, but it'll go on really easy. It won't soak that much paint up because it's already been painted and primed. So it's a really easy project. It's a really good do-it-yourself project that you can, just kind of, do in an afternoon, do in an evening. We're going to do it at night tonight. And we'll show you how we do ours and what it looks like when it's before, like now, and after. So if you're painting fresh wood, hasn't been painted, fresh drywall, whatever you're painting that's fresh, always prime. It'll make it last longer, it'll soak up, the primer is much cheaper than normal paint, so it'll soak up the cheaper paint. It also gives it, it grips it, so it gives it a little bit more longevity for it to last and to look good. So do that first. The tools we're using today is always get yourself a really good brush. I've been using this brush. I always use the same brushes. I usually use Purdy. Purdy is P-U-R-D-Y, but this one is Wolster Pro. And always get a really good brush because it gets you nice and into the corners and things like that. And then for this project, normally I go with a big roller because you can move faster and things like that, but I really wanted a super smooth finish. This is a super smooth finish. It's a 6-inch roller. We use it on our cabinets in our pantry. We're going to use that as well. And then, of course, a really high quality paint. Because this is more of an area where people are going to put stuff on and things like that, we got a satin enamel. So whenever you get shinier, it shows more imperfections. So satin enamel, I think, is perfect. It lasts really, really well. It's got more of a hard finish to it. It should last longer than what this builder paint grade is. And if you go with something that's more, like shinier, gloss or something like that, you're going to show a lot of the imperfections. If you have corners that don't look quite right, you're going to see that. So I always choose satin enamel for things like high traffic things like, bathrooms, pantries, cabinets, things like that. I like the finish of it. It's smooth. It looks really it's got a little bit of sheen to it, but not too much. So what I like to do, and for my trimming, is I like to trim everything out with a brush first. So everything I can get that's going to be up against a wall that I'm not going to paint and stuff like that, I do all of my trim and kind of that detail work first, and then I back roll into it. And then I roll as close as I can without touching the wall. So you do that and you get a better finish overall. You get rid of some of the brush strokes and things like that are along the trim lines. So that's really what I do. And you always want to stop at a spot where it's not going to look like in the middle of the board. Like I wouldn't paint this board and stop here, because when it dries, you might see a lap mark there or something like that. So if you're going to paint the face of a board, paint the whole thing all the way down. Don't get a lot of like extra paint on the sides or things like that. If you do, just kind of wipe it off a little bit. So that way you get a better finish overall. You don't want to have, paint kind of in clumps or where you can see where you left off and started. So if you look at the bottom there, where I stopped, I left off at a place where there's a seam, and I didn't leave a lot of paint on the next board because when I pick it back up again, you won't see that there's a lap mark there because there's actually a board break there. Okay, so that's it. So this is a good after work weekend project. Takes a few hours. I put 2 coats on because it was a dark color going over white paint, and I didn't want to see anything through it. So I put a couple coats on that, and I put 3 coats on the bench because that's going to take some abuse. People are going to put bags on it, water bottles, things like that. So I want to make sure it was really, really protected. So that's it. that's how you quickly do a paint project. It's an easy do-it-yourself. It changes drastically what the room looks like. You can see now this pops and it has a whole new look to it. So it's kind of cool. So that's it. Subscribe to our channel. Give us the thumbs up. Super thanks is always welcome, and we'll see you next time.